everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Wednesdays. Today, we're going to talk about a really cool project called Vinyls for Good that was put together by people at the NY Hed recording studio, and Mahou beer. Today, we have one of the founders of NY Hed studio, Rocio, Verta-Ray. I'm really excited to talk to her about how this started, and I would love for you to first tell everybody how you came up with the project and how the partnership got together.
All right. I have been working with my husband, Verta-Ray, in the studio for a number of years now, and I have a family history that is linked to Mahou, and I'll explain how. I have two older sisters and two older brothers. My two sisters work in film, and I used to work in film as well. I used to direct a film festival. My two brothers and my father and my nephews have all worked, and some of them all their lives, in this factory of Mahou beer. And Mahou is like the most important beer in Spain. It's like the most famous brand in Spain, but it's not very well known in America yet, right? So then when I met the director of Mahou for North America, well, for the US and Canada, Edward Crespo, I told him, and he's like a really open-minded person, and he was looking for ways of expanding or getting the brand to be known in America, which is, like a very competitive market. We talked about the possibility of creating a series of vinyl records that would be recorded in NY Hed studio. The idea was, let's try to introduce the brand Mahou, which is such a great beer, to this market, associating it with something that we love, which is music. That people listen to drink beers in bars and they listen to music there. And so we want to associate with music, but in a way that also shows how much they care about the product. And so that's why we thought that NY Hed studio, using this analog equipment and this vintage gear, and just with a way of approaching recording in general, and then putting it in vinyl, then it would be like a really opportunity to promote the brand, right? We prefer to record in analog, which is kind of fashionable again, but we of course can record in digital as well. But Edward and the people at Mahou were very interested in the idea of associating themselves with a form of production that takes so much care at every step of the way, that it slows down, and that really is like an almost artisanal way of doing things, But anyway, so that was the idea, and that idea we were just nurturing. It was just a little bud, and then it was gaining momentum, and I just thought about this band, Go Cactus, which is a Spanish band that I really like. Very young, very energetic, super fun, and they have great songs. So I suggested this band to start this series of vinyls, and it seemed like a really good match because it's a Spanish band, and they're fresh, and they represent like fun, and like all these fantastic things that that we associate also with drinking beer, and so they came. We had recorded with them once when they came to on their way to South by Southwest last year. So I thought, this is the perfect band, so why don't we do it? So we got all excited, and we were going to do it. And while the boys were on their way, Go Cactus were on their way to South by Southwest, so they stopped in New York, and we went to the studio to start recording. And all of a sudden, like, the world started like crumbling around us, like they canceled South by Southwest. We couldn't imagine, of course, what was going to happen. So luckily, we record the songs, and then the boys of Go Cactus had to, right after we finished, they had to rush, go back to Spain because the borders were getting closed. It was like incredible. And then we decided, and this was, like Edward thought a lot about this too, and he said, well, let's go ahead and do this, but how about we turn this into some sort of like project that can help people who are in need during COVID times. So that's how it became Vinyls, part of this Vinyls for Good, which is a project to support local bars and clubs in America. So we are just going to give them away to the bars that have been affected by the pandemic and that are selling this beer, and instead, and they can sell the records there, and all the profits go to help these bars.
Oh, that's really cool. So people are going to be able to go to the bars that are associated with this project and buy the vinyl there.
That's right. So we printed, we chose also a local record plant, Brooklyn Phono, that pride themselves as well of working with the same methods that we do, and we printed like an enormous amount of records for, like, anybody who is into vinyl would know that we printed 3,000 records for a 45. It's a very, very, very large record number. And we then distributed them to all these bars that are in different places of America, and people can find out which ones they are going to this website, the Vinyl for Goods website. And so then, like, the majority of the bars, what they're doing is to sell the record for the amount of money that people would pay for a Mahou beer. So if a Mahou beer costs $8, instead of getting the beer, you just get the record and then maybe a beer as well, But you can take this record home, and it's just, I think hopefully we'll just go on with this series, and it will just end up being like a really awesome, not only an amazing record, which, I'm very proud of it, but also like a collecting item of something that is special at this really bizarre time in history.
Yeah, and it's, especially helping out the conjunction between, like, you're trying to promote the beer and also trying to help out bars and restaurants, and it goes together with, like, the people who play there, the musicians. It's a very, like, collective thing.
Exactly, because it just seems to me that we all have to try to support each other in the best way we can, right? And there is, different levels of let's say public support or government support, depending on where you are in the globe, like in the world. And we just like trying to do a little bit for it. And I think that if we can create something beautiful in the process and continue with our artistic activities at the same time, I think it's quite encouraging for everybody to know that we're there, for each other. I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah, every little thing that we can do right now for this industry is, like, amazing, and this is a really unique way to help. So that's really cool. When did the first album come out and, like, be able to be distributed?
So the first one is this one, right? I'm gonna show it to you. It's just a 45, so it's 2 songs. This, coincidentally, one of the songs, the side A of the record is called "Would You Hold My Hand," which is the song that they were going to record before we knew that we were going to do a benefit, before we knew there was going to be like a deadly virus that is going to, like, change our lives forever. So it's just quite beautiful and symbolic that that song is called "Would You Hold My Hand," right?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really great. So there's 3,000 of these. I mean, they are selling pretty fast because I think it's such a great initiative. Like, people go to a bar and they can just get a record, just to support the bar and take the record home, So we hope that this is going to be the first of a series of records that Mahou and NY Hed Studio will put together to to continue with it as we had initially intended. But now, it has another extra layer of greatness in it, goodness in it.
Yeah. Do you have plans for a second record? Or I know because you produced this before everything kind of shut down, so I don't know how difficult it is for you right now to get something together.
Yeah, I actually do have plans. We do have plans, and I actually have a couple of bands in mind. It depends on how it is going to be traveling around. So we may have to choose some of the bands that we had already pre-selected for the record, but that are actually locally now to continue, because in our list of future releases are bands from Switzerland, from France, from Canada, from New York, from Spain, so we from Australia even. So we just would like it to be like a very international project. But we just thought that to start with, Go Cactus was just the perfect time.
Yeah. A little bit, I'd love to know more about the studio too. When did New York Hed open? How did that start and get founded?
Well, this studio is actually decades long. My husband, Matt Verta-Ray, who co-owns, and he was actually the founder of the studio, he started, many years ago, and it has gone to so many different locations. But in the last, I would say, nearly 20 years, it's been set on the Lower East Side. We had a first one studio. One of the studios was in Ludlow Street, and now we moved to Orchard Street. We've been there nearly 7 years in this latest incarnation of the studio. And it's like a very small boutique studio with a lot of collection of undesirable gear from very old. We just pride ourselves of recording. We really love recording, and we really love this way of analog recording in tape, and we try to find ways of making it sound like all recordings by using different techniques of how to mic the drums, for instance, or to allow the space to sound. We have a particularly interesting space because it has a very special wavy type of ceiling. So we are quite lucky in the conditions, like the architectonical conditions that allow us to get a really good sound of the room. And then, of course, we have really amazing vintage equipment that, it often happens that young kids that have been, now everybody can record at home with their computer, maybe save a little bit and just try to and come for a song or something. And it just is like a really life-changing experience because it's just another world. So we have recorded there all sort of interesting musicians and all sort of genres. So from John Baptiste, which is a very famous musician now.
Love him.
So he has come. We recorded with him maybe in 20 separate occasions, and he's come with 30 musicians, and we all try to fit in this very small studio. Or he's come sometimes by himself. He just walks down the street and, are you around? Okay, I'm coming, and he starts playing all the instruments. So we recorded a lot with him. We recorded with legends from the underground world, Mick Collins from the Gories and people like that. We recorded Alan Vega, before he passed away. So we sometimes have recorded a classical musician that needs to, a soloist. So we're quite versatile, and the truth is that we really like rock and roll, but we're very open to other things. We've recorded many times an artist that we love from Australia, Jackie Winter, that does electronic type of I wouldn't put a label to what he does. It's so wonderful. But he's maybe come 5 times from Australia to record with us. So we we love recording also local bands. We record bands from all over the world. From, as I was mentioning before, from Switzerland, from France, from Spain. From Australia, from anywhere in America. We record with some of our favorite bands because it's just, we've been very lucky. It's a bit difficult at the moment, to tell you the truth, because right now I think we're all going through a very hard time, but hopefully things will pick up, and that's a little studio.
Yeah, and you're located right in the heart of like Lower East Side, like music world. And like Orchard Street, like that has some of like, where a lot of the oldest like little local music venues have originated, and like a really big bar and restaurant scene. So obviously you're really tied to like that, like kind
exactly. Yeah, it's a really buzzing area. Yeah, definitely. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it has been, obviously really hard for the music industry right now. Have you been able to do any kind of recording at all? Is it in a safe way, or is it just, kind of shut down for a little bit?
Well, the truth is that this was the last formal recording that we did in March. That was towards the end of March, because we just haven't felt that there were safe conditions for anybody to record. Now things are starting to seem a bit, I don't know if we are relaxed a bit, we are being a bit more irresponsible, or what's going on in the world right now. But I want to think that soon we will be recording again. And if there's any musicians there that want to record, please come. But it pretty much, we just been recording our own projects. Matt and I have a band as well, so we've just been making songs, and that is nice to have a recording studio where you can just like do anything you want. So we recorded a whole album, which is great.
What's your band?
We have a band called Disturbios. So our record is coming out soon, and we've had the opportunity to dedicate ourselves to our band. But that is a luxury that really we can't afford to do for much longer. So hopefully we will get into the series soon and get another one of the recordings that we really want to put out there. Because obviously, even though the news about vaccines and all that are very hopeful, and the changes with the election and all that, it just feels like it's going to take a while for us to go back to normal and to be able to to sort of like get where we were before this started. So we're gonna need all the help we can get, everybody. So if we can help bars doing this, we'll be very happy to do it.
Yeah, and that's really amazing of you that you're having this project give all of the money back to these bars, and you're struggling yourself. You're not even taking anything for you.
Yeah, it's just, well, we feel that something will come out of it, like something will we just hope that something will come out of this. And it's actually very generous of Mao to have produced all the records, like to put out 3,000 records and to make them beautiful too, because, they could have I was just saying all the time, because I was supervising the whole process, I was just saying, we're going to make it this as simple as possible, because we cannot throw any extra money in it, because this is a benefit. So let's just make it simple. But I think even though it's very simple, it's very nice.
It's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm very grateful to them, and I think I really, really hope that a lot of people will start looking for Mahou beer, because this is a really awesome project.
Yeah. All right. Have any bars, do you know, like, been able to start carrying that?
There are some bars that already carry them in America, and I think that's why in this Vinyls for Good website, a lot of people can see. Like, I think that you can just put your zip code, and then it will tell you which bars are around you. So definitely our bars in America which are carrying it. Like I know in Florida, in New York, in Washington, in Maryland, like there's a lot of bars that carry them. But you know how it is here. There's like 1,000 beers everywhere, you know, like
so many choices. Sometimes you're like, what do I choose?
Exactly. I mean, definitely in all anything, any bar that has any sort of like a slight relation with Spain, they will have Mahou. But there are many other bars that are carrying it, and it's just, yeah. I mean, I can tell you, it really is the most important beer brand in Spain for a reason. So I'm sure it will do well, but here it just has to. People just need to get to know it. And I just think what a great way of knowing it, you know, just knowing that they're behind something that is so cool, you know, like recording an analog, you know, in a studio like ours, putting it out in vinyl, pressing in Brooklyn Phono, and then giving away the records for free so somebody else can benefit. I mean, I say yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love new and like different ways to advertise for a brand, and just especially like you said, that they're giving back, you know, they're just paying for these records and not expecting anything from it, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's actually really nice.
Yeah. So, you know, I can tell, obviously you're super involved in the music industry. You have a recording studio, you're in a band. What are some of the things that like you miss the most from just being able to experience it full time?
Well, I think like everybody, I miss to be able to go to live shows, you know, of course, because that is just like a, you know, an essential part of the music experience, right? And I have to say that I personally miss, and in that you also miss like being social in a way that you can listen to music, because since I'm very, very young, since I was very, very, very young, music was like the most important thing in my life. Like I couldn't go anywhere without my Walkman, you know, like I would only go to bars that play music that I like I was just a radical in that sense. Like to me, music was everything. So everything that you associate to music is just like, has a lot to do with a social component too, of being in a space with your friends or doing whatever. But I have to say that the one thing that I really, really miss is having musicians in the studio and creating something together. And just, you know, it's so exciting to you know, to sit with talented musicians who have an idea, and sometimes it's like fully fleshed, and sometimes it's just like budding, and you just work together to create something, and or just like facilitating for them to put their songs out there, and yeah, recording and making it happen. It's just, I just love that, and I really do miss it.
Yeah, being able to be in a room with other creative people and just bounce ideas off of each other is a really special thing to do.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I want to thank everybody that was involved in the process, and I want to thank you for giving us a voice so we can, yeah, just pass it around.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's, you know, as much as we like to give musicians, you know, a voice on our platform, we love like things like this that will help out, you know, the music world, and it's such a cool project. And if anyone wants to learn about where they can find the vinyl or where they can find Mahou beer, we're gonna have all those links in the description below this video.
Okay.
Check all that out.
All right.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Rocio. It's so nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too.
I hope everybody has a great day, and until next time, bye guys.
Bye.